Okay, so this tutorial is for creating revolved type bottles, revolved solids. So that's anything where you start with a sketch and it's revolved round. So these are all examples of revolved type bottles. The first thing you're going to do is open a new part sketch. Remember that you start by choosing a plane, starting a sketch, and then turning it into 3D. So I'm going to pick the front plane to start on and begin my sketch. I click on the sketch tool and it will spin it round. So I'm going to begin by creating a center line. So I pick the line tool. I think it's a really good idea to start at the origin. It helps orient your part correctly. So I draw my center line up. I'm just pressing enter now. And when I click on that, I find it's quite a good idea to get it roughly the right size, although it doesn't really matter. So I'm going to make it 210 millimeters tall. Actually, I'm just going to remind you at this point to have a look down here at what units you're using. So it should say millimeters, grams, seconds. If it doesn't, you can change it so it's on the correct unit. So I've made my line 210 millimeters tall, and I will tick that. Then I'm actually going to press the F key, and that fits it to the screen. There we go. Now what I'm going to do is create an outline of my profile for the bottle. So there's a number of different tools I could use to do that. I can use straight line tools to create my profile. So that's my first one. And the next step would be to revolve that, but that's not what I want. So I'm just going to undo all that. I can use a spline. So this is to create a more wiggly one. And you have to double click to stop it. So I might be quite happy with that. With a spline, I find you usually don't want to get too many points in there. Just do a few, and then you can actually push it around a bit to get the shape you want. Okay, so I'm happy with that. I've created my profile sketch. That's actually the hardest part. Now I'm going to do a revolve. So I sketched in the sketch tools. I click on features to turn it into 3D. And I'm going to choose revolve. The axis of revolution I want is this. Tick. Now, if you don't have one continuous loop on your sketch, it will give you lots of error messages. So you have to try really hard just to have a nice, clean single loop on your sketch, and then it will revolve. Okay, so here's my revolved bottle. Now when I've done that, I might find it's not exactly how I want. So I can expand that and I can edit it. So if I right click and go edit sketch, maybe it's a bit wider than I wanted. So I can just change that sketch. There we go. And I press this. The traffic lights rebuild is really useful. So I click on that and it rebuilds it. Now that I've done something I like, I should make sure I save.